group name, are in the process of doing so, to World Mind Meditations, is that right? Or
World Earth Mind Healers.
Earth Mind Healers, all right. Okay, we are now the Earth Mind Healers. And our radio show, or the primary show, is what? Universal Mind Radio. Well, that's really appropriate for us, so we will use that from now on when we can remember. But even though we've changed our name, we're still in direct contact with the Wolf Radio groups and working out through the auspices of the former Dave Corso and now JP. So we'll continue on. This morning, of course, we're concerned about Earth Mind events, which has to do with environmental situations around the world, as well as sociological situations and governmental situations. Anything that affects large volumes of population at any given time. And this is kind of a critical day because in Iraq they are shifting their government from the one that was dominated by Maliki to one that we hope and as we observe is being created in Dominion. And so we'll put a lot of attention on that today to pull together the desire of the various groups of the Iraqi people to work together to form a working government, which is set up on basis of democracy, rather than the old-style dominators that Maliki was trying to create. Maliki was actually trying to create a thing like Saddam Hussein had, a monarchy or something, where he controlled a dictatorship, where he absolutely controlled everything. But he's fallen by the way, fortunately, so we can move onward and upward. So we will direct quite a bit of attention to that. The weather pattern seems to have settled out from what I can observe in my quick checkup. Rich in Hawaii, are you with us, Rich? And the reason he's not answering is because they're in the midst of that hurricane that was hitting through that area. So Rich may not be with us today.
I heard that hurricane passed.
Yeah. And I've not even received any news about the effect of it, but perhaps...
That officials breathed a sigh of relief as one tropical storm passed over the Big Island, causing limited damage, and a second system set its sights away from the island chain.
Okay.
They dodged the bullet, so it sounds good there.
Well, if you'll recall, we
yes, sir.
helped push that one to the north so it wouldn't directly affect Hawaii. So we can be thankful for that. So let's get right into our Earth Mind meditation. And to do that, for any of you newbies out there that are listening, we discovered, well, it was given to us by the galactic flow and higher consciousness, techniques that allow us to access the subconscious mind, and through that, the undersoul of our own systems and direct contact with the negative polarity of Earth Mind, the female consciousness of Earth, as well as the oversoul consciousness, the positive male polarity, and working through the 0 point. This allows us to manifest and demanifest physical things in our reality. And the key here is that the more people who are step back in this meditation and unifying our consciousness, that's where the power is. And we have no way of telling exactly right now how many is on, but being as there's no time or space, even those who can't be active with us this morning, no matter when you get on, it's still through resonance and the standing waves, it still has an effect on what we create with our intent. And of course we're working with the power of the sun and the power of energy that is released in the ring of fire through earthquakes and volcanoes around the world. And we utilize those energies to create a golden shield around the earth. That golden shield is a protective shield from sunbursts and things, which we have, the scientists even have observed, and the unusual phenomena, as they put it, of the sun flares going around the earth in the magnetic field. Well, what they're doing is traveling around the golden grid of our protective shield, and so we're very pleased about that. Now, the other thing we're doing is we're creating a force field that we can project from Earth, utilizing all the unified consciousness on Earth we possibly can pull together of all living things that desire the continuation of life as we know it and improved life. We are directing energy to Nibiru to bounce it outside of the solar system in such a manner that it limits or at least greatly reduces the destructive force that it can have. And because apparently we are on the same side of the sun as Nibiru will be as it passes, we will be in for the full effects of it this time, providing we don't continue to build our protective shields and to monitor the effects of the gravity of Nibiru. And it actually isn't Nibiru, it's the dwarf star, which the dead star, the dead planet, Planet X, that Nibiru rotates around. So with that in mind, close your eyes, be in a comfortable position, hands and legs separated, feet flat on the floor. This gives us direct communication and contact with Earth Mind. Take your awareness up in your forehead, into the conscious reasoning frontal lobes that we're communicating through right now. And then step back a step further. And as you step back, you come into the region of our indwelling soul that acts consciously through the frontal lobes of the brain to have an active, interactive, creative cooperation with the higher powers and under powers to create and hold our reality in form. So just feel yourself in your soul center for a moment. And this is your point of identification. And this is a point of personal power for you, that you connect into all the other points of power to unify within yourself your forces of higher consciousness and personal power. And it's also the primary point where we reach out and touch other souls around the world. Expand your souls out laterally now. And the way to do this, just think about all the other souls in the world. Put your point of attention on them, because your full power and force goes where you have your point of attention. And strengthen the bond between our meditation group and the Wolf Spirit Radio group and the Universal Mind group. Now you feel that lateral connection all the way through, principally out the back of your head, because not only are we connecting into soul and all of humanity on Earth, through the back of your head, you feel a flow come in now that brings a resonance through you, and your hands begin to tingle. That's a signal that we're connected with that greater, more evolved humanity out in the galactic center and all the planets on the galaxy that has humanoid beings. By putting our point of attention on them, we feel their intent to help us, their unified consciousness of energy that comes to us, comes into us through the backs of our heads, down to the heart center, the 0 point, and then it radiates outward as this tingling sensation in your hands, the positive right hand, the negative left hand. It's utilizing this power and the fact that this power is what we call unconditional love. It holds all the frequencies of manifestation that we use to manifest all the physical things of Earth, including consciousness and thought. This is literally the God Force consciousness. Step down to the level of the galactic consciousness. Directed through us to whatever our intent is. Now this is working in the unconscious higher fields of consciousness. Now take a step back deeper into the psychic center around the pineal gland, and here's where we have direct conscious contact with others. And opening these channels of communication allows us to participate with anyone, anywhere, through the subconscious mind. In this grid of consciousness that is the psychic grid, just another step back, just step back a bit further now, and you feel yourself expand. Expand yourself down the spine to the heart center, to the 0 point, and down deeper to the root chakra, and down deeper into earth mind, where we have access and communication with the Devic forces of consciousness that hold the form of all physical reality. Now move your point of awareness back up your spine to the crown chakra and out through the crown chakra to oversoul. And oversoul is what gives us contact with the expanded consciousness of the galactics and higher realms of consciousness within our own high self range of energy and potentials. Now feel that overall expanded glow. It's a glow, it's a resonance. You can almost we do hear a hum of humanity. This is the frequency of humanity, which incidentally is raising after the consciousness shift of 2012. The whole entire frequency of consciousness is raising in the human race, and as we're attuned into it with our awareness and our slightly more evolved level of consciousness, it helps lift the human range up to the 12 levels of our chakra system, our point of consciousness that indwells in each level of our system according to our expansion of consciousness and our willingness to move out of the third dimension and into the fourth dimension. And that's exactly what we're doing as we raise the frequency of ourselves and all human consciousness. We're moving out of the third domination world, third dominion of domination, into the higher frequencies of the third dimension, where we can begin to communicate with the fourth dimension and use our psychic powers, using our unified psychic powers to spread around the world higher consciousness, the communication, the telecommunication of dominion in the world, where everyone is created equally and everyone has equal opportunity, with no domination or suppression by the those who have taken over the financial structure. Actually, they created it to hold us down and dominate it. But that is breaking down now. And we will work with that some more this morning. But now with this unified consciousness, we're going to empower, through the ring of fire, we're going to empower our golden grid, which we will direct to things of intent that we wish to accomplish today. To take your awareness to Southern California and the end of in Earth Mind now. Just tune in and feel in your lower chakras that attunement to the primitive consciousness of Earth Mind in that level, the Devic forces, and feel it, the resonance through your root chakra. And when you feel that intensity build up there, you know you're grounding in. This is what grounding is. It's coming into attunement with the lower forces of consciousness. Now expand yourself out laterally in Southern California and begin to feel the intensity of the earthquakes that are building up. Because this is an area of ongoing activity due to crustal subversion. Now lift that energy up your spines. Actually, it doesn't actually happen in your spines. It's happening there. But because of our attunement, we use our bodies as the attunement mechanism so that we know our desire and will is resonating with the Devic forces that hold the form in that reality. We lift that energy upward in an incredible flow like a funnel. It sucks all that energy building up away from the earthquake zones so they will not gain in intensity. We want to hold them below 4.0 as long as we can. And we do that by drawing out this excess energy up through our crown chakras, up through the oversoul. Let that energy just pour out into the ionosphere in our golden grid. And feel that grid strengthen and empower. Now continue northward towards San Diego, lifting, carrying, releasing from the San Andreas fault system and the lateral systems like the Gerlach fault to the San Joaquin Valley. Lift those energies upward. Continue northward to Los Angeles, taking the energy away from these high population centers that seem to be focused around the major earthquake centers. Lift those upward. Continue on northward to San Francisco. And further northward to the California line. And now shift eastward to encompass the Sierra Nevada mountains, that full length of eastern California, all the way down to the Las Vegas area. And there we touch into the primary subduction zone that lifts the Rocky Mountains. So we move northward along the Rocky Mountain. There's a lot of activity there in Utah today. Lift those energies upward. All the way up to the Yellowstone cauldron, and the activity that's been increasing lately around that cauldron, which indicates magna movement or energy building up. Release that energy upward by becoming the magna chamber, and lift that upward. And take time to feel the intensity of how this energy affects your system. You can actually use this energy to revitalize your own health and your sensitivity. Radiate it through the golden grid. And move on northward up the Rocky Mountain chain, the ancient subduction zone, lifting those energies upward. Now westward to the Pacific Northwest, where there's a lot of minor activity popping up. And pull the energy off the entire Cascade Range all the way down into California. This is the subduction force created by the San Juan de Fuca plate that's subducting and lifting the Cascade Range, creating the volcanoes, ancient and active even now. Lift that energy upward through all the volcanoes. And as we do this, we feel a hum in our systems. That's the hum that's been recorded by scientists as being a harmonic movement of the plate as it subducts. And that's harmonic movement prevents a major cataclysmic tsunami off the Pacific. Lift that energy upward. And move northward. We leave those energies all in place and working, so we're continually pulling energy off of these subduction zones, releasing it. Now move upward into the Gulf of Alaska, and that Pacific Plate subduction zone beneath Alaska is creating almost steady vibrational releases of energy. So we release all of that. There's hundreds of these happening every moment. It's a tremendous source of energy for the golden grid. Now take your awareness down the Aleutian chain and the Aleutian Trench all the way to Russia. There's a spattering of slightly larger earthquakes there. These come up into the 4-point range, and that's where we like to hold them so they don't build up any higher to create tsunamis. Lifting the energy upward. Now we take our awareness to the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. Some subduction activity from the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench there. Lift those upward. And follow that all the way down to Japan. And there's a few mid-range volcanoes activity and earthquakes occurring off the coast. Now continue on southward. To Taiwan, then southward to the Philippines. There's an increase in activity there now that has been pretty quiet, but it's stepped up. In fact, everything stepped up due to the supermoon, the closeness of the moon, and the brightness and the gravitational field of the moon. Earthquakes are stepping up all over. There's actually a 4-foot tide that goes around the Earth following the sun, where the level of the Earth moves up as much as 4 feet. And that activity is what causes the earthquakes to release. Now it goes southward to Indonesia and the Indonesian crescent. It follows the Java Trench all the way up to Madem. Minor to mid-range activity there today. Now move eastward to New Guinea. That's settled down, although there is some activity in the fault lines of the subduction zones to the east. Suboceanic, all the way to the Solomon Islands, following that chain, that subduction zone, all the way around to Samoa and Tonga. This chain of underwater mountains that causes those islands comes off the Tonga Trench and the Command Deck Trench, moves southward through New Zealand. There's a couple of small earthquakes and maybe inland volcanoes erupting in New Zealand. Now we move eastward across the Pacific to South America, and there is a low level of activity the full length of the Andes Mountains, and that's suspicious because my feeling is that those are building up and will release with the full moon, the new moon. So we release the energy off the Peru-Chile Trench, full length of South America, up into Colombia, Peru, then northward to Central America, where the Guatemala plate is subducting, causing activity the full length of below Mexico, out across the Yucatan to Puerto Rico, Haiti, scattering of small earthquakes in that continually subduction zone. We take our awareness across the Atlantic now to the Mediterranean area, where there's only minor activity in some of the Italy and southern Greece. then eastward to Turkmenistan, around Tao in China, down into the Himalayas in southern China, and into south central China, 4.7 in the area of Wenping, now move eastward to the Hawaiian Islands. A lot of activity going on there in the Big Island, from adjustments that are occurring there. Lift that energy upward and bring energy back down from the Golden Shield to protect those islands from any other typhoons that could come through that region. And come eastward to the point of beginning and out into the central United States in Oklahoma, where the fracking is going on, and maintains an almost steady movement of earth occurring there now due to the increased release of gas and oil. So then on into the southern Appalachian Mountains, northern Georgia, now bring our awareness back to the point of beginning in Southern California. And now instead of leaving that, we're going to extend our awareness out into Earth Mind. Through Earth Mind, through the Akashic records of the crust of the Earth, tuning into Earth, Mother Earth, and the instinctive consciousness that's patterned by all living things having DNA into the crust of the Earth that is the subtle energy system. In the subtle energy system, the instinctive consciousness of all living things. Now continue expanding the desire and will of all living things to pool the life force energy in all of the earth systems, to pool and unify our intent for survival. This is the instinctive impulse for survival. We want to lift that instinctive impulse into all living things, particularly the humans, and bring into their awareness the approach of Nibiru, and unify all humans to direct with us the intent to bounce Nibiru into a wider orbit, or Planet X. And we do this by projecting from our golden grid a reversal of the magnetic forces, the gravity forces that are acting between Earth and Nibiru right now. We put a repulsive force projecting from Earth, using Earth's gravity, towards Nibiru to repulse Nibiru rather than attract it. This is like putting the two poles, the negative poles of two magnets together, and they repel each other. That's exactly the feeling we want now with this pooled consciousness of all living things on Earth, is focusing that repelling potential to push Nibiru away. Visualize it swinging into a wider orbit, and Nibiru itself not being located on the side of Earth, but on the opposite side, so the Nibiruan people will not be harmed by the passage. And now utilize also the force coming in from the galactic center. Feel your hands get hot. It resonates into this intent to every human on Earth. Focus the power through every human, the power of the galactic consciousness, their intent, desire to protect Earth. Use this energy directed at Nibiru, a negative polarity to repulse Nibiru and push it away. And Planet X. Now I also send this impulse into the past, the standing waves of the past, create it there, as though we were doing this 10 years ago, when Nibiru was far enough out that just a slight nudge is all that's required to push it to a wider orbit. And we bring that forward, that intent forward through the standing waves to this moment of now and into the future. And with this, the realization that Nibiru on its 3,600-year orbit will never affect our planetary system to the degree that it has in the past cycles. Never again in the future. And we feel the whole planetary system relax as our desire and will is expressed as intent and in manifestation now. Now we leave that in content in form, resonating through our golden grid, holding the form of our intent with every human and every living creature on Earth. Take your awareness now in closer into the human systems, and we'll go to the financial system of the world as we see, and as we predicted it would, and as we helped to create it happening. We see the financial structure of the Illuminati, and the forces that hold 95% of the wealth of the world in their control of the financial systems and banks. You see that system breaking down, the fiat money system breaking down as their power is just destructive because it was a domination force. It was always destined to self-destruct, and it always happens because they overdo it. If they had been satisfied with even giving half of the money back for use by the general populace, this would not have happened. We could have lived with it. You see the new reevaluated Treasury, gold-based Treasury Reserve notes in the United States coming forward into use, replacing the fiat money system, the Federal Reserve. We see the revaluation happening now. It is happening now. And greater abundance will be available to people all over the world starting tomorrow and on into Monday, when people who have currencies can go to the banks and find an increased abundance in their wealth through revaluation. And we see the ripple of that moving around the world, empowering, strengthening, equalizing the distribution of money through all levels, and all abundance for all people. We see this happening in dominion, as this is one of the progressive growth acknowledgments that is required, that we learn now. So as dominion evolves, it will be in place as a financial structure that allows free trade and sharing of physical things around the world. And we see the governmental system shifting as people bring into power to the various means of selection, bring into power people who understand the principles of dominion and work towards that end. We see the principles of dominion coming into the consciousness of the rulers of the churches and the religious organizations around the world as they begin to truly teach what they have espoused before, which is mutual caring and loving and trust and sharing between all men. They did it under the guise of dominion when they were acting in domination to control the people. We see those domination forces receding, being released. We feel this resonance of what we're creating being resonated into the golden grid, which multiplies and enhances and empowers our desire and will. And we feel that resonating into earth mind, replacing the domination consciousness or the instinctive consciousness of all living things, particularly humans, who will no longer be subjective to the forces of the cabal. And we release that, bring our awareness back into every human being now, and we use the power, the force of the sun, which gives life, that the forces of the sun be distributed unilaterally around the world to be available for all living things having DNA, so that life may continue in abundance. And to use that life force to suppress and eliminate any of the pollutants, radioactivity, anything that's polluting the seas or water supplies or our environment. We neutralize that now through the force of the sun working through our golden grid, intensifying the breakdown of pollutants. And all living things that are in stress receiving our empowering and healing as we act in the nature that was described to us by the God force, that man shall be in dominion of all living things. And all living things will be expressed in dominion. Now we leave that request open and continuously be resonating around and through the earth and through the solar system. As we continue to open up more and more to the unconditional love of the galactic flow to nourish and empower all living things in dominion. And so it is. I bring your awareness back into your own reality, in your own systems, and observe the effect that your resonance is having within your own lives and your progression of consciousness. Feel your own frequencies rising as you release and clear your own pollutants, which have been negative thought forms implanted by the system, the domination system, in the past. You reach out into the group mind consciousness and break down the domination system that would limit or reduce our empowerment. We see the television and communication systems coming back into the power of those who are in dominion, taken away from those of the dominators who seek to control our thoughts and our thinking and our actions and reactions. Allow all humans to harmonize, become one in dominion, where our thoughts and our intents are to enhance and empower each other, realizing that we are all one, and through our mutual empowerment, we help ourselves the most. And so it is. Now bring your awareness back up to your psychic center, out to the soul center, back into the frontal lobes and back out into the world, feeling wonderfully cleared and empowered, because that is what you are. Okay, JP, we're back. If you're still with us. Now this is the point where anyone can comment. Please feel free to do so.
Hi everyone, it's Teresa. I have a little comment about the last comment you made about unconscious thought forms or unconscious conversations. And recently I've been noticing that if you're just milling about and hear people talking, they definitely have an unconscious default for negativity. And it just struck me now that it would be so nice if, or not if, this is what our intent is that the default is empowered and enhance. And when people say hello to one another, it is, words are consciously spoken rather than just little recordings. And, for example, someone says, "How are you today?" And they go, "Oh, well," and they talk about the woe is me or things that are bothering them, or, "Oh, the weather is this," or "the weather is that." And it's always kind of a dark energy. And the intent that you just spoke of, I'm excited to hear, and that is that when we are enhanced by being in dominion, our response is conscious, and the words are not a recording. You don't hit play and blah blah blah. Rather, it's a sentence, and you speak from your heart, and you speak in dominion. And those thoughts have been going through my mind recently, and it's so nice to have it gel at this time. I'm excited about that.
Thank you, Teresa. That was perfect. There was some discussion in the group prior to the show about the Archon and the negative thought implants that they create around the world. It spreads like a disease around the world. Even as the group were speaking about that, the realization was coming to me that if we are in our higher levels of consciousness and maintain our point of attention in our eyebrows or in our high levels of consciousness, not allowing the low self to respond to any of these negative thoughts, then it becomes like a force. It literally burns up, neutralizes, crystallizes, and destroys those Archon thoughts and intents. Does anyone have any comment about that?
This is Catherine, and whenever anybody would ask me how I am doing today, I would consciously answer them from the love of my heart and soul instead of the discomfort of my body. And I would say to them, "I am doing great today. It's a beautiful day." And they would look at me strangely because they could see me limping and not walking well. And I go, if I keep saying that I'm doing great, my body's going to catch up with me sooner or later.
Very good. Anyone else? Just speak your heart.
Frank, this is Kim Marie. I really appreciate this conversation today. As you know, we've been carrying around the crystal skull of Glenn and Susan since 2011. And as you know, they are quite active right now in the grids. And what you're speaking about would explain why I am constantly running at a very high body temperature. I do feel like I'm a walking furnace right now. I think that a lot of what we're doing and what we're carrying as healers is we're helping to burn up that lower frequency that has taken residency or tries to occupy our conscious fields. And And I do feel like, you know, a light warrior, and I do know that the work's getting done, but it really helps to have the confirmation, like us having this discussion today. It really helps to energize that battery and have us go back out there and do it more, you know?
Yes, we're all warriors in spirit. Well, we thank you for your efforts in allowing this to happen. You're truly a world warrior, my friend, and doing a wonderful job.
He's a great mentor, too. If you ever need mentoring at starting a radio station, call JP.
And he has a great heart.
Good man. We love you, JP.
I know.